What is going on, guys, and welcome to Bootstrap tutorial. Now in this video we're going to talk about how we can actually group our buttons. So let's say over here I have a button over here, and I'm just going to say the type is going to be a button, and then the class is also going to be button, and now we will just need to pick a color. So I'm just going to say a danger, something like this, and over here we're just going to write a danger. So now we have one button, right? And what I obviously can do, I can just copy this a couple of times. So now I have 3 buttons. However, if I would want to group them together, I would need to create a div, and the div would have a class, and the class would be a button over here and group. And over here, we're just going to close this div. And if I'm just going to, right now, I'm going to copy this div over here. And I'm just going to say that I want to cut this and paste it somewhere, let's say here. And we would need to actually fix this over here and delete this. So now I can see right away how all my buttons are actually grouped together. Now, once I have them in a group, I can actually add a couple of features to them. So let me just, I'm gonna copy this over here and paste it over here. And in here, I'm just gonna say that there's gonna be a line break, something like this, and maybe 2 of them. So now I have 2 line breaks, so you can see that's what's happening, that I have them separate, right? And in here, if we want to add a sizes for the whole button, we don't need to go button, piece by piece. Or here we can just write a size that we would want. So if I have button group, and if I write extra small, you can see how they become extra small. If I write over here medium, they're obviously going to be medium. If I want them large, they're going to be large. And if I want them small, obviously they're all going to be small. So you have an idea how we can actually use the button group, and we can style them all together. We don't need to do them one by one. Now what we can also do with a button grouping, and again, I'm just going to create a couple of line breaks over here. We can actually, if I'm just going to paste this again. So now again, I have these 3 buttons. If I write over here, button group vertical, pretty self-explanatory. You can see that how I have all my buttons in a vertical position. Now what I can also do is actually, I can use a justify. And what that's going to do is actually going to span all across the screen. So the first thing that I would have to do is actually, I would need to create a container. And I would probably have to say that this div is going to be having a class container, something like this. And over here, within that container, first thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a h2, and this is going to say that this is justify something like a button group, right? Something like this. And over here, I would again create a div, and div would have a class, and it would be a class of button group. But just for a change, I'm actually going to create a links over here. So if I go over here as a link, because if you remember, we actually could use a links as our buttons. So over here, I have href, and then I would have a type, and that type would be button. And over here, obviously the class, let's say it's going to be button, and it's going to be button info, something like this. And also it's going to be role, and the attribute role should be a button, something like this over here. And I'm just going to say that this is link, right? So you can see that nothing special has happened yet. However, if we go over here, where we have a div class, and if we add a button group justify over here like this, so we have button, and then we write group, and then we have justified. You can see that right away link is spanning all across the screen. So if I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to copy a couple of times these links, you can see that right now I created buttons that are spanning all across, even as I'm changing the size of the screen. However, you can still see that they're taking exactly the whole screen length, right? So this is what we can do with actually button justify. However, we need to remember that we still need to write this button group first, right? The same how we did over here with button group vertical and whatever we were dealing with the smizes. But just over here, we need to write a separate button group. We cannot just expect to be button group justified and expect that it's going to be the same thing. This is going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.